Before the sun rises tomorrow morning, while the world around you is still dark and silent, there exists a window of time that the ancient rishis called the most sacred interval in the entire 24 hours. A 2 hour window that occurs every single day without exception, that most people sleep through entirely, and that the Vedic tradition identifies as the most powerful period available to any human being for aligning themselves with the energy of divine prosperity. The rishis called it Brahma Muhurta, the hour of Brahma, the creator. And what I'm about to share with you is an ancient Lakshmi invocation, a specific mantra practice that my grandfather transmitted to me in Varanasi when I was 16 years old, that is designed to be performed precisely within this sacred window. It is one of the most powerful of all the practices I know for attracting the energy of Lakshmi into your daily life. And for 45 years, I have never seen it fail a single person who performed it with the three specific elements that make it complete. Most people who know this mantra are reciting it without those three elements. They are performing the body of the practice while missing the parts that give it its power. Today, I'm going to give you everything, the complete practice, exactly as it was given to me, exactly as my grandfather's family had practiced it for generations in the Brahmin tradition of Varanasi. I am Guruji Raman Sharma. I was born in Varanasi, the most sacred city on the banks of the holy Ganga, where my family had served the Kashi Vishwanath temple for generations. My grandfather, Pandit Vishnu Sharma, and received the mantra tradition I am about to share through what the Vedic tradition calls Guru Shishya Parampara, the unbroken transmission from teacher to student, going back to the ancient rishis who first heard these sounds in states of deep samadhi beside the rivers of sacred India. He taught me this practice not as information to be memorized, but as a living relationship to be entered. He said, this mantra is not something you recite to Lakshmi, this is how Lakshmi recognizes you. When you chant these sounds with complete presence and pure intention, she turns toward you the way a mother turns toward a child who has called her name for the first time. For more than 45 years, I have studied and practiced and transmitted the Vedic sciences of prosperity. Um, what I'm sharing today is one of the nine sacred laws of Lakshmi, the law of the sacred sound. The ancient rishis discovered that the universe in its most fundamental nature is vibration. The Chandogya Upanishad opens with the teaching that Om, the primordial sound, the sound from which all creation emerged, is the highest and most complete of all mantras. Lakshmi, as the goddess of prosperity, has her own specific vibrational signature, a pattern of sacred sound that, when reproduced with precision and devotion in the human voice, creates a field of resonance that draws her energy toward the practitioner. This is not metaphor. This is the core principle of Mantra Shastra, the ancient science of sacred sound, as the rishis understood and documented it. This practice, Dai performed before sunrise at Brahma Muhurta for 21 consecutive days, is one of the most concentrated and reliably transformative practices within the nine laws I have organized. I will tell you exactly what to do. I will tell you the three elements that most practitioners miss, and I will give you the complete practice with nothing held back. Write in the comments right now, Om Shreem Mahalakshmi Namaha. Let this be the first vibration of this sacred sound that you send out today. Write it with awareness. Let it be the beginning. I want to speak to where so many of you are before I give you the practice itself, because the context matters. I know that many of you are practicing already. You recite mantras, you visit the mandir, you have a puja space at home, you perform the rituals that your parents and grandparents taught you. And yet, the financial dimension of your life still carries a weight, a persistent resistance, a gap between the prosperity you sincerely pray for and the prosperity that actually arrives. I have sat with thousands of families in exactly this position across 30 years in this country, and I have identified the same pattern in virtually every case. The practice exists, the devotion is real, but somewhere in the practice, the connection is incomplete. The mantra is being recited without one or two or all three of the elements that transform recitation into invocation. We are also living right now through one of the most financially pressured periods that the Hindu diaspora has experienced in a generation. The cost of living in America, in England, in Canada, these have climbed in ways that strain even careful, responsible families. And I'm also aware that this is a spiritually charged period in the Hindu calendar. The energy of the goddess is particularly accessible right now as we move through the sacred spring months. Akshaya Tritiya, which falls this year on the 19th of April, one of the most auspicious days in the entire Hindu calendar, a day whose very name means that which never diminishes, is approaching. The ancient texts describe Akshaya Tritiya as a day when any spiritual practice begun carries the seed of permanent benefit, as though the prosperity it initiates is inscribed in the cosmic record and cannot be erased. Beginning a 21-day mantra sadhana in this period, in these weeks, pointing toward that sacred day, is, according to the tradition my grandfather transmitted, or among the most auspicious timing available to us in the entire year. The mantra I'm about to share is the complete Mahalakshmi Ashtakshara, the eight-syllable invocation of goddess Lakshmi that appears across the Vedic tradition and whose roots are embedded in the Sri Suktam, the most ancient hymn to Lakshmi that exists, found in the appendices of the Rig Veda. The mantra is Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha. You may know these sounds, you may have recited them before, but I promise you that what I am about to tell you about how to recite them, when to recite them, and with what internal state to recite them will change your experience of this practice completely. The first of the three missing elements is the proper understanding of the seed syllable shreem, the Lakshmi Bij, Soko the most fundamental sonic key to Lakshmi's vibrational signature. The Lakshmi Tantra, a devotional text specifically dedicated to the goddess, identifies Shreem as the bija, the seed of Lakshmi's energy. A bija mantra is not a word. It does not have a grammatical meaning. It is a pure vibrational key, a sound pattern that corresponds directly to a specific quality of divine energy. Shreem specifically carries the vibrational quality of abundance, beauty, auspiciousness, and the radiance of the goddess herself. When the rishis discovered this seed syllable in deep meditation, they were not creating a symbol, they were hearing the sound that Lakshmi's energy makes in the fabric of existence. And they recorded it with the precision of scientists so that it could be reproduced by human voices and used as a key. If most people who chant Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha chanted as they would chant any Sanskrit phrase, with the attention in the mouth, on the pronunciation, on the counting. My grandfather taught me something entirely different. He said, when you reach the syllable Shreem, do not allow it to live in your mouth. Allow it to reverberate in your chest, in the center of your chest, in the space the yogis call Anahata, the heart center. Feel the sound of Shreem as if it is a bell being struck inside your chest. Not loudly, not with force, with the quality of something resonating freely in an open, still space. He demonstrated this for me many times before I understood what he was describing. When you find it, and you will find it when the quality of your attention is right, you will feel a warmth, a vibration, had a subtle but unmistakable aliveness in the center of your chest. That feeling is not a product of your imagination. According to the tradition of Mantra Shastra, that is the resonance of the seed syllable activating in the specific subtle energy center it is designed to open. Practice this one element alone for 3 days before beginning the full 21-day sadhana, and it will transform your relationship with this mantra completely. The second missing element is the sankalpa, the sacred intention, and the specific way it must be established before the mantra practice begins each morning. In the Vedic tradition, a sankalpa is not the same as a wish or a prayer. A wish lives in the future. It says, I do not have this, and I hope to receive it. A sankalpa lives in the present. It says, I'm aligning myself with the cosmic reality in which this is already the case. The distinction seems subtle, its effect is profound. The rishis understood that the universe responds to the vibrational quality of our inner state. When we approach a mantra from a state of lack, from the feeling of not having, of needing, of hoping desperately, the mantra carries that quality of vibration into the field. When we approach the mantra from a state of alignment, from the recognition that Lakshmi is not withholding from us, but that we have simply not yet positioned ourselves to receive, the mantra carries a completely different and far more powerful vibration. My grandfather taught me the correct sankalpa for this specific mantra practice. Before you begin your 108 repetitions each morning, I sit quietly for 3 minutes, not praying, not asking, not reviewing your financial worries. Simply sit, breathe slowly, and then make this internal statement, not spoken aloud, but felt as deeply and as sincerely as you can. Goddess Lakshmi, your abundance is not something I'm lacking. It is something I have not yet fully opened to receive. I'm removing the barriers today. I'm aligning myself with what is already flowing. I'm placing myself in the path of your grace, which is always already present. Then begin the mantra. The difference between approaching the chant from this state and approaching it from a state of lack is the difference between opening a door and knocking on it from the outside. The door is not locked, it is already open. What the Sankalpa does is help you realize that you are already standing in the threshold. It's like, now let me take you through the complete practice, step by step, exactly as my grandfather taught it, and exactly as I've practiced it and transmitted it to families across 30 years. The practice must be performed during Brahma Muhurta, the sacred pre dawn window that occurs approximately 90 minutes to 2 hours before sunrise each day. In the tradition, Brahma Muhurta begins at the fourth portion of the night, which in practical terms, for most cities in America, England, or Canada, falls between approximately 4 and 6 in the morning, depending on the season and your location. The Vishnu Purana describes this time as the period when tamas, the quality of heaviness, inertia, and unconsciousness, is at its minimum, and sattva, the quality of clarity, purity, and receptivity, is at its maximum in the natural world. During Brahma Muhurta, the atmosphere itself supports the kind of inner stillness and openness that allows a mantra to penetrate deeply rather than remaining on the surface of the mind. I know what some of you are thinking. 4 in the morning is very early. You have work, you have children, you have a life that begins early and ends late. I understand this completely. My grandfather's response to this objection, which I have heard hundreds of times over the years, was always the same. He said, the 21-day sadhana is not asking for your entire life. It is asking for 45 minutes of it during the window when those 45 minutes do more than any other 45 minutes in your day. Set an alarm. Place your mala beside your bed the night before. Let the inconvenience be part of the offering. The goddess recognizes effort. She recognizes the person who disrupts comfort in order to meet her in the space she has prepared. The evening before you begin, the night before day one of your 21-day practice, take a bath. Lay out clean clothes, ideally light colored cotton. Set your mala, your rosary of 108 beads, beside your alarm so that when you wake, your hand finds it immediately. Place a single ghee lamp beside your puja space so that when you sit down in the pre dawn dark, lighting it is the first act of your practice. The lamp is not optional. The Vedic tradition consistently identifies fire, Agni, as the purifier of space and the carrier of intention to the divine. The Rig Veda addresses Agni as the first priest, the first intermediary between the human and the divine. When you light a ghee lamp before the mantra practice, you are not performing a cultural habit. You are activating the oldest channel of communication between the human world and the divine world that the ancient tradition knows. When your alarm sounds in the pre dawn darkness, rise without hesitation. This is important. My grandfather called the first moment of consciousness after waking a sacred threshold, and he said that what a person does with the first 3 seconds of their waking determines the quality of the entire day. Rise, wash your face and hands with cold water. This is not merely for cleanliness. The shock of cold water on the face and hands in those dark morning hours performs something the rishis observed precisely. It shifts the nervous system from the diffuse state of emerging sleep into a quality of alert, a receptive wakefulness that is distinct from the ordinary wakefulness of the busy day. It is the first preparation of the instrument through which the mantra will work. Sit in your puja space. Face east or northeast, the Ishan Kona, the zone of the divine from which cosmic energy enters every home. Light the ghee lamp. Take 3 long, slow breaths, releasing each one fully before drawing the next. As you breathe, feel yourself arriving, not just physically in the room, but inwardly in that quality of still, receptive awareness that the Upanishads call the witness state, the state in which you are fully present without being pulled by thought in any direction. Now, with your mala resting in your right hand, the thumb and middle finger holding the first bead, the index finger never touching the mala. I, because the index finger carries the energy of the ego and must not participate in the mantra. Close your eyes and establish the sankalpa that I gave you. Feel it fully. Do not rush. 30 seconds is enough if the 30 seconds are genuine. Then, with your eyes either gently closed or softly resting on the flame of the ghee lamp, begin the mantra. Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha. Move one bead with each complete recitation. When you reach the Guru bead, the large bead at the base of the mala, do not cross it, reverse direction, and continue. On the first day, chant one complete mala, 108 repetitions. From the second day onward, increase to two malas, 216 repetitions, and maintain this count for the remainder of the 21-day sadhana. The increase on day 2 is significant. So the first day is establishment. From the second day onward, the sadhana enters a cumulative phase, each session building on the field, established by the session before it, deepening and expanding the resonance with each passing morning. As you chant, remember the first missing element. Feel the syllable shreem in the center of your chest, not in your mouth. Allow each repetition to be complete in itself, not raced, not dragged, moved through with the steady pace of a river, unhurried and continuous. The Chandogya Upanishad teaches that the quality of attention with which a sacred sound is produced determines its power far more than its volume or speed. A single repetition of this mantra, chanted with complete awareness, with the sound felt fully in the heart center, with the sankalpa alive in the background of the mind, this one repetition is worth more than 1,000 recitations performed while the mind is elsewhere. I want to give you the third missing element now. This is the one that my grandfather said was the most important of all three, and also the one that the fewest people know. He called it drishti, sacred seeing, visualization, but not the generalized visualization of abundance that is commonly taught. The specific image that the Sri Suktam itself prescribes for the practitioner during Lakshmi invocation. The Sri Suktam begins with the verse Om Hiranyavarnam Harinim Suvarna Rajatasrajam Chandram Hiranmayim Lakshmim Jatavedo Ma Avaha. She who is golden in complexion, radiantly beautiful, adorned with garlands of gold and silver, who is lunar in her grace. O Jatavedo, you bring that Lakshmi to me. The rishis who composed these words were not writing poetry, they were prescribing a precise visualization. During your 108 repetitions, hold this specific image in the field of your closed eyes. Goddess Lakshmi, golden and radiant, standing upon a full bloomed lotus in a body of still water that is luminous with early morning light. Her four hands extend toward you, her forward hands in the gesture of giving, pouring a stream of golden light from an open palm. Her face is not turned away. She is looking directly at you with the eyes of a mother who has been waiting patiently for her child to come home. My grandfather was absolute that this image, held gently, not forced, not strained, but present like a candle held in cupped hands, is what transforms the mantra from sound in the air into an actual invocation. He used an analogy I have never forgotten. He said, a radio transmitter sends its signal into the air constantly, but without a tuned receiver, the signal passes through without being received. The mantra is the signal, the visualization is the tuning. When the sound of the mantra and the image of the goddess arise together in the same moment of awareness, the receiver is tuned. The signal reaches its destination. Lakshmi, in the understanding of the ancient rishis, does not require us to reach her across an infinite distance. She is already present, always present in the fabric of our world. What prevents the connection is not her distance from us, it is the untuned quality of our attention. Now, let me tell you what to expect. Within the first 3 days of this practice, many practitioners report a subtle but unmistakable shift in the quality of their mornings, a clarity, a sense that the day ahead holds more possibility than usual. Some describe it as the feeling of a door that has been slightly ajar, becoming fully open. Do not dismiss this as the psychological effect of waking early and sitting quietly. The ancient texts describe this as the first sign of Lakshmi's attention turning toward the practitioner, what the Vedic tradition calls Shubha Sparsha, the auspicious touch. Within 7 days, you may begin to notice what appear to be coincidences in the material dimension of your life, unexpected conversations that lead toward opportunity, a resolution of a financial tension that had seemed fixed, a sense that resources are beginning to move in your direction rather than away from it. Is the rishis call this Lakshmi's first visible response, the beginning of her movement toward the household of the practitioner who has called to her consistently and with correct quality of attention. Within 21 days, the complete first cycle of the sadhana, the ancient texts describe what they call Lakshmi Stapana, the establishment of Lakshmi's energy as a stable presence in the consciousness and the life of the practitioner. This is not merely a temporary uplift, this is a recalibration, a change in the fundamental relationship between the practitioner and the energy of abundance, a change that, once made, persists and deepens with continued practice. On the final morning of the 21-day sadhana, day 21, add one final element after your two malas. Sit in silence for 11 minutes after the last repetition, holding the image of Lakshmi as I described it. Then, with complete simplicity, not elaborately, not with a long list of requests, offer her gratitude, not for what you are hoping to receive, for what you have already received, for the life you have, for the practice itself, for the access to this ancient knowledge. The Bhagavad Gita in the 12th chapter identifies gratitude, the recognition of divine gift in what already exists, as one of the qualities that Lakshmi consistently recognizes and responds to, not the gratitude of obligation, the gratitude of a heart that genuinely sees abundance already present in its life and honors it. This quality of gratitude, established on the final day of a 21-day mantra sadhana, is what seals the practice and allows its energy to continue working in your life even after the formal sadhana period is complete. I must share the sacred warnings that are traditionally given with this practice. The ancient texts are clear and specific about these, and I ask you to receive them with the seriousness they are intended to carry. Never begin a 21-day sadhana that you are not willing and able to complete. The Vedic tradition is unambiguous, a mantra. Sadhana interrupted in the middle creates what the tradition calls an incomplete circuit. The energy that has been building through the practice cannot complete its natural cycle and may disperse in ways that are energetically unsettling. If you know that the next 3 weeks of your life contain a travel commitment, a family event, or any other unavoidable circumstance that would break the morning practice, wait. Choose a window when you know you can maintain the unbroken 21 days. The practice done completely once is worth infinitely more than the practice attempted and abandoned. Never perform this practice from a place of pure desperation or greed. I want to be honest with you about this because I know that many people watching this are in genuine financial difficulty. and that the word desperation is not too strong for what some of you feel. I'm not asking you not to feel what you feel. I'm asking you to transform the quality of your intention before you begin the mantra each morning through the sankalpa I gave you. Allow the desperation to be present as information. It tells you how much this matters to you. Laate, but do not allow desperation to be the energy that drives the practice. The rishis wrote, and my grandfather confirmed through a lifetime of observation, that Lakshmi responds to devotion but moves away from grasping. The open hand receives. The clenched fist holds on to nothing. Never allow the mantra practice to replace the practical responsibilities of your daily life. This is a point that Chanakya makes in the Arthashastra with characteristic bluntness, and it is one of the most important teachings in the entire tradition of Vedic prosperity. The gods help those who help themselves. The mantra opens doors. You must be willing to walk through them. The mantra creates alignment. You must be willing to act on the aligned opportunities when they appear. When Lakshmi creates a crack of light in your circumstances, Aman she will, you must be awake enough to see it and courageous enough to move toward it. I want to close with something that has remained with me since my grandfather first said it. On the morning he taught me this practice in its complete form for the first time. We were sitting at the edge of the Ganga before sunrise, and he had just completed two full malas with his eyes closed and his face completely still. When he opened his eyes, he sat in silence for a long time watching the dark water. Then he said, "The mantra does not bring Lakshmi to you. The mantra brings you to Lakshmi. She is already present. She has always been present in the sound of the Ganga, in the light of every lamp that has ever been lit in devotion. That in the quality of awareness that exists in this moment before the world wakes up. The practice is simply the act of becoming still enough, aligned enough, devoted enough to finally perceive what was never absent. When I close my eyes and chant these sounds, I am not reaching out across a distance. I am becoming quiet enough to hear the answer to a call that was heard the moment it was made. This practice is one of 9 sacred laws I have spent 45 years organizing from the Vedic tradition into a complete and interconnected system. What you have received today, the law of the sacred sound, the Brahma Muhurta mantra sadhana with its 3 complete elements, will begin to shift the quality of your relationship with abundance in ways you will feel in your body and see in your life within days of consistent practice. But the rishis designed these 9 laws to amplify each other. The mantra practice we have covered today connects directly to the space purification of your puja room, to the sacred lamp practice performed every Friday, and to the dharmic financial principles I have shared in other teachings. When practiced together as a unified system, the effect is of a completely different order than any single practice can create. That unified system is what I have spent a lifetime assembling, and I'm sharing it piece by piece through these teachings so that it can reach every family that is ready to receive it. In my next teaching, I'm going to reveal the specific visualization practice from the Lakshmi Tantra that the ancient rishis said multiplies the power of the mantra sadhana exponentially, a practice that must be done after the mantra or not during it, and that almost no teacher shares publicly because it requires a foundation of consistent mantra practice to be safe and effective. Those of you who complete this 21-day sadhana will be precisely ready for it. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so that teaching finds you the moment it is published. Write Om Shrim Mahalakshmiye Namaha in the comments and let the mantra travel from your fingertips today. If someone in your family or community has been struggling financially and has never been given the correct form of this practice, share this teaching with them. The act of sharing sacred knowledge is among the most powerful expressions of Dharma available to us. And Dharma, as Chanakya wrote, and as the Vedic rishis confirmed in every tradition they left behind, is the indestructible root from which all genuine prosperity grows. May Goddess Lakshmi, in her boundless grace and her ever present abundance, receive the vibration of every mantra you offer in these sacred pre dawn hours. May Lord Ganesha clear every obstacle from your path of practice. Om Shanti, Shanti. Shanti.